and welcome to the Barcelona GSE CV tutorial. My name is Helga and I'm joined by my colleague Magda.
Hello everyone!
Both of us from Career Services. With this presentation, we would like to give you some instructions on how to create a powerful CV.
First, we will provide a brief introduction. Next, we will explain why it's important to have a powerful CV and how to achieve it. Finally, we will guide you step by step through a presentation of the Barcelona GSE CV Template, which will be shared with our network of international recruiters.
It takes just 1/10 of a second for us to judge someone and make a first impression. Similarly, it only takes a few seconds to assess your CV and form a mental image of you as a professional.
How long do recruiters take to decide if you're a good fit for the position?
The answer might shock you. The average time per CV is 6 seconds. The speed of work is high and recruiters need to be quick to go through all the applicants. Hence, your CV should be transparent, clear, and contain enough information to attract the reader but not bore them. You need to make sure that they feel interested in learning more about you. Your CV is a document which gives an overview of your profile and reflects where you want to go in your career. Even in the era of social networking sites such as LinkedIn or Twitter, recruiters will still ask you to provide them with your updated CV. It will be useful for you throughout your career. How do you stand out with your CV?
We all like to hear or read coherent stories. Likewise, when employers assess an application, they like to understand the natural course of events and see the logical transitions from the past to the present. A good CV also shows where you want to go in your career and how your skills or previous experience can be of use for employers. It should be in a reverse chronological order, meaning it should begin with your most recent experience and go backwards from there. It is highly important to use concise and clear language in your CV. A good CV will build a coherent image of you as a professional. You need to carefully analyze your key strengths. Knowing your strengths will help you to put forward your unique selling points. The first step is to select the information you want to convey and highlight. Let's have a look at what is crucial to include and how to choose the most relevant information.
First, experience. Ideally, recruiters are looking for people who already have a similar experience to the one required. Therefore, it's crucial that you explain the expertise and knowledge that you bring to the table. Even if you have little previous experience, think about how your skills match the requirements of the position you're applying for. Second, achievements. Recruiters are eager to see what kind of impact you have made in your previous job or internship and what you have contributed to achieve. Remember to include examples and whenever possible, quantify them. Third, skills. What are skills? Skills are the expertise or talent that allow you to perform your job successfully. They are a set of behaviors that make you good at something. During the course of your studies or work, you have developed many skills. It is important to identify them and see which are the most relevant for the desired position. Focus on what will make your CV stand out from the others. Transferable skills are very important if you're changing careers or if you have little experience. Transferable skills are those skills which are developed in one situation or job but can be transferred to another one.
Let's start by brainstorming what academic experience you have gained so far. Where have you studied? What is your specialization? Have you received any scholarships? What was your academic record? How about your professional experience? Where have you worked before and what did you do? What are your areas of expertise? Do you have an in-depth knowledge in a particular area? Have you already progressed in your role? Recruiters would be interested to know how you grew, for example, from an intern to an analyst, from analyst to associate, consultant, partner, etc. In which industries have you worked and how is it relevant for the position you are aiming at? Have you already worked in an international company or for international markets? Have you lived or studied abroad? If it's the first time you live abroad, the year at the Barcelona GSE will also enrich your CV and demonstrate international experience.
How can you actually show an achievement on your CV? We will show you a few different ways. Using action verbs, quantifying your accomplishments, and using a STAR technique.
You should use action verbs such as analyzed, increased, investigated, or conducted when describing your achievements. These are powerful words which bring energy to your content. It is also very important to quantify your actions. For example, instead of analyzed databases, you can say analyzed databases with 750,000 records. Or instead of writing published a paper, you can write published 4 papers over the course of 1 year. Sounds different, doesn't it?
Another way to promote your achievements is to use the STAR technique. Here's what STAR stands for. S for situation. Think of the situation in which you found yourself. T for tasks. What was to be achieved? A for action. Which actions did you take to achieve the goal? R for result. What was the result of your actions? They should be quantifiable whenever possible, and they can be expressed in terms of quality, time, and cost. You can estimate the result if you don't have the exact data. Even though useful, please remember that STAR does not need to be used in every point on your CV. You should aim to include one example per position. Being concise is very important, so you should condense the examples, but be prepared to discuss them further in an interview. In fact, the STAR technique is extremely useful during interviews. Results are what make your CV most powerful, and therefore should be presented first. They will help you strengthen the impact you make with recruiters.
Let's look at this example. Data analysis and policy recommendations. It sounds like a list of tasks. How about the following? Analyze databases with 750,000 records and proposed policies that were approved by the government. Sounds more powerful.
Another important cluster of information that you should bear in mind preparing your CV are skills. What skills are both indispensable and desired for the role you are aiming at? How can you make your CV show that you have the right set of skills needed? Both soft and hard skills are in value for recruiters. Some examples of the hard skills are analytical skills, numerical skills, research skills or IT skills, as opposed to communication skills, teamwork or interpersonal skills. So how can you convince recruiters that you have those skills? The answer is, make it clear from the information you include in your CV that you have done tasks which require using them. Think of the following skills.
Analytical skills. Being an economist involves a lot of analysis of events and economic variables. As such, one must have excellent analytical skills as to draw reasonable conclusions. Have you done it in the past? Have you analyzed quantitative and qualitative data to later propose some solutions? Have you provided accurate focus on economic variables? Numerical skills. Numerical figures and statistics are an everyday thing for an economist, and as such one must have the skills to understand and interpret statistics well. Have you interpreted complex statistics? Did you have to apply various tests to verify your hypothesis? Research skills. Ability to collect, understand, organize, and use evidence, data, and information. Are you familiar with appropriate means of identifying, finding, retrieving, storing, and exchanging information? IT skills. The ability to use the software and hardware of an information technology-based device. Are you able to use a variety of software to store, analyze, and process information and data? Do you know any programming languages?
Communication skills. Most jobs need good communicators, people who can express themselves clearly and positively, both verbally and in writing. It's one of the key ingredients of success. Are you able to convey information to people clearly and simply, in a way that means things are understood? Do you adjust your language depending on who you are speaking to? Teamwork. Teamwork is a critical component of most work environments as it inspires the members towards a common goal. Have you been a member of a project or sports team, group or committee? Interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are the life skills we use every day when we communicate and interact with other people, both individually and in groups. Have you worked collaboratively with others, know how to show appreciation, empathy, and listen actively? Are you calm, optimistic, and charismatic, and know how to handle situations gracefully?
Which transferable skills do you want to highlight? Remember, those are especially relevant if you have little experience or you want to switch careers. For example, if you worked as a teacher assistant but now would like to work as a junior consultant. Which tasks have you done in the past that required the same skill set? For instance, as a teacher assistant, you had to explain complex economic concepts in simple terms, and you will need to do it also as a junior consultant for your clients who might not have your knowledge. Hence, you should highlight your competence in communication to convince recruiters you would be a good fit for the role. The same could be true for project management skills, which you probably developed through your academic work.
From Career Services, we want to link talented students with the institutions which might be interested in hiring them. We will include your CV in the Barcelona GSE CV book that we share with our network of recruiters. To be included in the CV book, we ask all students to prepare a one-page CV using the standard Barcelona GSE template, which we will describe for you now. The CV format we use is commonly used by internationally recognized institutions such as the World Bank or IMF, as well as in the corporate world. We strongly encourage you to use it also as you progress in your career. The Barcelona GSE CV must be one page long. CVs longer than one page will not be accepted for the CV book. The limited space means that you will need to be selective and polish your CV as much as possible. The time you invest now in preparing an excellent document that represents you will save you time later in building a successful career. In special circumstances, if you have already substantial work experience for the purpose of applying to a job later on, you may use a two-page CV.
Now let's take a look at the format of the Barcelona GSE CV template. As you can see, the CV template begins with your contact and personal information, followed by your academic background, previous professional experience, your languages, IT skills, and finally relevant additional information. Let's analyze the CV by specific sections.
The first part on top of the page is the personal details section. This includes your birthday as well as your nationality. It will also include your contact details such as address, email, and phone number. For some of you, particularly those of you from the US, Canada, or UK, it might seem incorrect to include information such as birth date or nationality or photo, as in your countries it is not encouraged or not allowed. In continental Europe, however, this type of CV is a typical one, so keep that in mind, and if you're planning to apply in other places, make sure you change your CV according to the standards of the local recruitment. If you have a work permit of the country you're applying to, you should also include this information.
The next section is dedicated to your education. This is where you include information on your previous studies, including bachelor's degrees, other master's degrees, and relevant academic information. You might want to include relevant courses to highlight your area of expertise and the topic of your thesis. If your grades and the GPA is above 8, we recommend you to include it. If you are in the top 10% of the class, you can also use the format of top percentage of the class. For example, result in top 5% of the class. Also mention scholarships and any honors you received. Explain your qualifications so that the reader understands its significance, especially if in the country you apply to, they use a different grading system. For example, equivalent to top 10% of the year, highest possible grade.
The next section of your CV includes your previous work experience in reverse chronological order, beginning with the most recent. This is the moment to include your action verbs, quantify whenever possible, and to use the STAR technique. When you look at the example provided, there are several things that stand out. Your eye naturally sees the job titles and location. Different countries illustrate an international experience. You also see that this student had 2 positions within the same institution and made progress in their career. This CV does a great job of showing the natural transition from one position to another. Also remember to use keywords from the job offer you're applying to. For example, Stata, MATLAB, Analysis, Data, Research.
When listing your languages, be honest about your skill level. Recruiters will test your knowledge. We recommend that you use the following levels to describe your language proficiency: native, fluent, advanced, intermediate, and basic. Intermediate means it's good enough that you could be interviewed in that language, so be careful how you rate your language abilities. Under IT skills, include all the computer programs you have worked with during your projects at university and at work. This section is extremely important, as technical skills are what recruiters are always looking for.
Near the bottom of the page, include any additional information you'd like to highlight, such as extracurricular activities, volunteering, sports, or awards. Have you engaged in a project of an NGO? Have you volunteered in a developing country? Have you written any articles, blogs, or academic papers? Have you won a maths competition? Have you received any scholarships? Have you been on a dean's list? Do you run marathons? Do you have a specific passion for a particular topic or sport which you could talk about in depth with the recruiter? Select the most relevant information for the position you are aiming at and those which show some transferable skills such as teamwork or leadership. Be just as achievement focused as you are when describing your work experience.
Here are some top tips to keep in mind when creating your CV. Research the employer and study the job description to match the job requirements with your experience. Keep it simple and consistent, both with the format and the content. You can add the detailed information during the interview. Be specific, give facts, figures, and quantify your achievements whenever possible. Ask a friend to proofread your CV. Spelling or grammar mistakes may be a reason to discard you from the recruitment process. Use a spell check and ask your native-speaking friend to review the content. Be confident, believe in your skills, and don't hesitate to put your achievements on your CV.
Finally, bear in mind that the CV process will take some time, so you want to be sure you don't want to wait until the last minute. Invest a bit of time to create a strong CV now, so that you will have it at your fingertips and ready to send to recruiters.
It's been a pleasure to guide you through this presentation, and we really look forward to working with you.